Hey everybody, welcome to our webinar. Hey
Welcome,
Howie, how
welcome.
you doing?
I'm fine, Mark. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good. I heard it was like 100,000 degrees in Las Vegas
Oh
recently
yeah, we're in the hot season now.
with 80-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, that too.
Is your car dusty?
Com- Completely. I can't even see it.
Right, right. So let's give people a little bit of a chance to join on here. We'll go about a minute, minute and a half, and then we'll get started. Howie and I did a practice session on this. This isn't really a warning, it's just a disclaimer. Uh, we took a 45-minute webinar. We were about an hour and 15 minutes. So we're going to, we may talk quickly. We're going to cut some things out that we didn't really need to have. So, but I hope everybody gets what they intend to get out of this webinar. Our intent is to make you either a better manager of your own Google account, or if you don't already have a Google ad campaign going, if you're contemplating one, make you an informed consumer, right? Of if you're going to hire somebody to manage your campaign, or if you are a professional who's managing your campaign, give you some insight on how we manage, millions of dollars worth of campaigns, so that because there's a lot of people who self-manage these campaigns, and it's just impossible to do it properly. So that's part of the reason we're going to do the webinar. So are you still homebound, Howie? Is Las Vegas still?
Yeah, pretty much. I get out once in a while. Otherwise,
Okay.
I'm under house arrest.
House arrest. Okay. I'm in my office. So let me share my screen and we'll go right into let's see. There it is. There we go. Can you see the first page of the slide deck, Howie?
Yes, I can.
Oh, that means everybody can. All right. Well, welcome to Google Ad Campaigns and what it really takes to make them work. We're going to spend about 45 minutes with you today. We're going to try not to get deep in the weeds. People can easily get deep in the weeds when it comes to Google Ads. Google Ad campaigns are a science if they're done correctly, and you're a data nerd like we are. So our goal is to not make Google richer. Our goal is to make you more efficient with whatever money you spend on your Google ads. So let's just keep going and let's introduce you.
Oh, this is my favorite dude.
This is your favorite dude, right, Howie?
Yeah.
We're gonna
Greg Google.
introduce you to Greg, right? Greg Google. And he's he's a millennial and he lives in Silicon Valley, and dollars just rain down on Greg endlessly, right?
That's right. And he doesn't care.
And he does
You're
not
successful.
care. Yeah, this is the part of Google Ads or ad management or campaign management that everybody that's going into them for the first time needs to realize, actually, even people who manage their own campaigns. It really is in your best interest and not in Google's best interest that you optimize your campaigns. And Google gives you the tools to do that. It's not that they're shy. They do give you the tools. So the overriding theme to this whole webinar is don't make Google richer, because if a click turns into a new patient, or if a click doesn't turn into a new patient, Greg Google gets the same $100. Okay.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care. He's not motivated to make this better for you, but we are. So The next thing you need to understand about Google Ads is that there's a lot of hype surrounding Google Ads, not only in dentistry, in the basic digital marketing community, right? You'll hear things like, I lowered my cost per click.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right?
What's that?
That's a good thing, right?
Could be.
Could be.
What are a million clicks at $1 a piece that don't end up in as a patient?
Oh, there's that.
Oh, there's that. All right. Okay. So what you hear from hype, and this actually applies to maybe some people watching the webinar who actually pay people to manage their campaigns. If you get these reports once a month or once every so often, and the report says, look, your cost per click went down. Look, your cost per conversion went down. Look at all the web traffic I sent to your website. Your cost per lead went down. And look how many leads I brought you. Every one of those should be instant indicators. What do we call that? The BS meter, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure we're in mixed companies, so I'll say BS meter, right? Those are your BS indicators that people are trying to impress you with numbers going up or down in order, and to cloak the fact that the numbers by themselves don't matter, right? Can you do dentistry to a lead? Can you do dentistry to a conversion, to website traffic? Can you do dentistry to any of those things? And the answer is no. So the most important part is that the most important metric that you should be concerned with ultimately is the number of new patients, the revenue that those patients bring into your practice in the first year, and the number and the amount of revenue those patients bring into your practice in 3 years. And I'll give you some examples or an example. Actually, we just gave you one, right, Howie? Howie said, hey, isn't a lower cost per click good? And I said, well, what if you spent $1 per click and you had 1 million clicks and none of them turned into a new patient, right? You spend remember Greg? Greg's like this, all your money, it's your $1 million and you don't have any new patients, okay? So does cost per click by itself matter at all? The answer is not really, okay? Cost per conversion. What is a conversion? What's a conversion, Howie?
When you get a new patient.
There you go. That's an example of a conversion. How about when someone clicks a link on a landing page? That's also a conversion. In other words, they take some kind of an action, right?
Yeah, they respond to your,
right.
your
They
marketing.
respond. Okay. So, or maybe they call.
Right.
They call your office. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you an example of why cost per conversion doesn't really in and of itself matter. Because if I have 27,000 phone calls come into your office and they're all wrong numbers and they're people looking for the dentist down the street, I just cost you $1 million. Greg Google got all your money and you got no patients. Seriously, okay? So cost per conversion, website traffic, cost per lead. So I have a poll. I almost forgot about this poll.
Oh, yes, the poll.
So I'm going to launch the poll. Can you see the poll, Howie?
I can. How many dental practices have a system in their office for following up with leads?
Yeah. So everybody that's on the webinar right now, I'd love you to answer that question. Like, how many dental practices have a system to follow up with leads? Because people who do this for a living tell you leads are important.
And you can only click one. I don't think you can do multiple ones here. So.
Yeah. And look, nobody clicked we do. Okay. Okay. So the point is that leads in and of themselves as a metric of a measurement of success or failure, okay, is not really an accurate metric. So don't be impressed by them. So if somebody comes to you and says, or you see an ad somewhere for marketing firm that says, we'll get you 117 leads. Well, if you know that leads don't really matter, then that won't matter to you. Okay.
You
So
know,
this is,
they might matter if anyone bothered to follow up on them, but that doesn't happen, does it?
well, it doesn't, well, from a digital marketing standpoint, what people call a lead is somebody who filled out a form on a website. Okay.
Yeah.
We can't even get people to pick up the phone during normal work hours. Okay. You know, we struggle. We have, 19.8% of the calls that we generate into client practices don't get answered.
Yeah.
And so let's fix that before we start, trying to get the staff and the team on board of following up with people who fill out forms on websites. Okay. So the primary metrics that do matter in digital advertising specific to Google Ads are number of new patients, the first year revenue that came from those new patients, and the 3-year revenue that came from those patients. That, if you focus your attention there, you'll be far, far better off in the long run. And you're not going to give Greg Google nearly as much money. So before you create your own ad campaign or you pay somebody to do it, I think it's really important for dentists to understand what they should expect out of a Google ad campaign. We have the benefit of, we manage millions of dollars in ad campaigns, and we have clients all over the US and Canada, and actually a couple of countries, but mostly the US. And we get to actually see all these numbers as a whole among all the clients, all the subjects that they're promoting. So that gives us an expectation that we can communicate back to you, the audience, prospects, clients, what have you. Average monthly ad spend is $2,718, and that's across the country. Yours doesn't have to be that high. Yours might need to be higher. We spoke to a really nice lady in New York yesterday, and she needs to spend probably $7-8 grand a month in her market. We have another client in downtown urban centers, and that's where you're going to spend more money. You're going to spend more money because it's a competitive bidding environment. The closer you are to more of your colleagues, the closer you are to more of your colleagues managing their own campaigns or having them managed for them, and the more they're bidding on the search terms and keywords. One of the benefits of Google ad campaigns is the speed to implementation. You can literally have the phone ringing within about 10 days. Takes a little bit to set them up correctly. Get all your ad sets set up, get all your campaigns set up, get all your A/B landing pages set up. There's a lot of work to setting up a campaign properly the first time, but 2 weeks, pull the trigger, the phone starts ringing. So the speed to implementation is one of the benefits of Google ad campaigns. What call volume should a dentist expect? Google ad campaigns done correctly will generate a ton of phone calls. When I say ton, I'm comparing it to, actually, let me give you a ratio. 10 phone calls, 8 of them will be probably not at the very beginning of your campaign, wonderful candidates for dental patients to your practice. 2 or 3 of them will be. That's basically how everybody starts. I'm going to end this polling. Oh, by the way, the end of the poll is we have, the winner was someone sends us leads, but we don't, excuse me, we don't know what to do with them, so we don't do anything. That was the winner of the poll.
And we predicted that too.
Right. I know we're making kind of light of it, but when you're hearing technical people tell you they're going to get you a bunch of leads, now you know that that's not quite what you need. What you really need are patients, and then the revenue that those patients bring in. So I'm going to end the.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So call volume at the very big. What's that?
The poll results just popped back up.
Yeah, I'm just sharing the results. That's all.
Okay.
So call volume happens almost immediately as soon as you turn on the campaign, after that week or 10 days setup time. Call volume, typically average practice, you're going to see calls, the volume is going to be pretty robust. So your team's going to have to be available to answer the phone. And they're also going to have to be prepared, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in this webinar. So the call volume is going to be pretty high, especially when you compare it to other marketing mediums like, I don't know, trifold magazines, other offline campaigns, even other digital campaigns. We don't generate more call volume from any other medium like we do with Google Ads. But here's the but. The but is 2 or 3 out of the 10 are going to be good candidates for your practice at the very beginning of your campaign. That's why you optimize your campaign. Sooner or later, 50-50. 5 out of 10 are going to be good candidates as patients. 5 probably won't be. And that's just the nature of Google. Because at the end of the day, Howie, what is Google?
It's, you mean our friend Greg?
Yeah, our friend Greg. It's basically a shopping environment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
It's basically a shopping environment. Everybody that is on this webinar right now uses their phone or uses their computer and uses Google to look for things near them. And dental consumers are no different. So what type of patient should you expect on your first call? 20-30% of them will be a good match. 70-80% of them at the beginning of your campaign won't be. And as you optimize your campaign, the best you're probably going to get is 50-50, 60-40. You're never going to get 100% of the calls be great new patients. It's just not. It's not possible. It's not possible at all. Average first year revenue per patient is $681 right now. And the 3-year revenue or the longer term ROI bill is going to double every 24 months for 48 months. So 681, 12, 1300, 2600 over about a 4-year track record. That's average. Yours could be higher, yours could be lower. Remember, we promote for all dental subjects. So we promote emergencies, general dentistry, ortho, implants, Invisalign, sleep apnea, all the dental subjects on their own. When you mix them all together, all the revenue totals, that's what you end up with. Are there any additional admin costs? And the reason why that's on this slide is because there are, and you need to be aware of them. Ultimately, in order to optimize a Google ad campaign properly, you have to be able to track from the very first click on your very first ad, all the way through to the patient making an appointment, keeping the appointment, and the revenue that ensues.
And even out to the revenue.
Even out to the revenue, right?
Yeah.
So because then if you know this click and this keyword and phrase turned into this revenue, you're going to put more budget into that keyword and phrase than your competition is, right? Equally important or more important is when that click doesn't turn into revenue, you turn your budget off from that keyword or key phrase, right?
Yeah, why keep spending money on something that
Why keep spending money on something that's not generating what you want? So the additional admin costs, there's a few, or actually in order to do it right, there is, we have to do call tracking. We have to have a dashboard. We have to be able to listen to the calls, rate the calls, and attribute the calls properly within your practice management software. So there's a little bit of admin cost there. You may want to staff to answer the phone depending on what kind of a market you're in. If you're in a densely populated urban center and we're running, let's say, emergency ads or general dentistry ads, and there are 70,000 people within a quarter of a mile of your practice, the chances are your call volume is going to be very high. And what we know is that people who use Google also use Google with their phone. We also know that if they use Google with their phone, that they don't like to wait. So they
No,
don't
it
even
has to
want to,
happen right now. They need an answer now,
they need an
right?
answer now. Right, right, Howie. And so when they click that that phone number with their phone and it rings 3 times, many of those turn into a hang up. If you look at the data, we're data nerds, that's all we do is look at data. You'll see, 2 point whatever 6 rings, and you get your drop offs, your hang ups. They really start to um, take a toll on your budget. Okay, so you may in peak call times, you may want to have someone able to answer the phone. So your admin costs could go up. Another place that your admin costs could go up, which actually dovetails to our last webinar that we did about 2 weeks ago, is the shopper part of this. People who use Google to find dental services, not all of them, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm going to say 70% of them are shopping. There's a reason they went to their phone and they typed something into Google to find dental services. It's because they're either in the market for dental services and they haven't been to their dentist and haven't been diagnosed yet, or they have been to their dentist, they have been diagnosed, and they're looking for a cheaper price. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. Okay. So what I mean by additional admin costs is if you're bringing in shoppers and then pre-appointing them and then chasing them down, hoping beyond hope that they stick to your practice, your admin costs are going to go up. So you need to be aware of it. That's all. I'm not saying it's totally a bad thing. I'm just saying you need to be aware of it.
Yeah, you have to pay somebody, just like you already probably pay somebody to hunt down people who've made an appointment, or you set an appointment 6 months into the future and they did a no-show. All that costs you money.
All of it. It costs you money at every at every step of the way. So let's take a look at a perfect world, because in order to understand how to optimize a Google ad campaign, you kind of have to have a picture of a perfect world. And then you need to know, well, how can that perfect world fall apart? Okay. So in this slide, we have a consumer who does a search. And then your ad appears. Does everybody know where a Google ad is? You want your ad to be one of the top 3, 2 or 3 above the map. It says sponsored. That's a Google ad. For the most part, there's other ways to do Google ads, but for the most part, that's a Google ad. And what you try to do is be at least the top 3, and preferentially, you'd like to be the top 1. Okay. So when somebody searches for something near you, and I'll define near in a minute, your ad appears, Dr. Bob Smith. And then the consumer is interested in that ad, reads a little bit, and goes, I want to learn more about that Bob Smith guy. And their computer or their phone takes them somewhere that answers their questions. I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but this is why you don't have one landing page. This is why you don't send them to your website. This is why you have a landing page based upon what they typed in. If they typed in looking for implants, as soon as they hit that landing page, it should say something about implants. It shouldn't be your homepage. You don't want to make these people search for stuff they're already searching for. Okay?
Yeah, there's too many clicks involved. Between them landing on your website and them finding what they really want to know.
Right. The key to this part of the optimization is making the distance between their clicking your ad and what they're looking for as short as possible, with as few steps as humanly possible. And you can actually get it to 1 step. Okay. So in a perfect world, the consumer types something in, looks for something in Google, sees your ad, is intrigued by it, go somewhere that immediately answers their questions. Am I a candidate for implants? What are the price? Is this a trustworthy place? Do they have 5 stars? What are their reviews? I need all those questions answered like right there. First thing that I see. And amazingly, if we do our job perfectly, the consumer actually converts. This is conversion number 1, and they call the practice. Right, Howie?
Yep. It's the first thing.
And amazingly, when they call the office, the staff at the office answers the phone in less than 3 rings. And in this perfect scenario, the staff is very prepared. They understand they're doing a Google ad campaign. They understand the questions they're going to get from Google ad campaign responders are going to be all over the map. So they put the best person in their office to handle these on the phone, answering these new patient inquiries. And the team engages this person and actually makes the conversion, makes the appointment. That's conversion number 2, right, Howie?
Yep.
Okay. Now, the beauty of this is, this whole perfect world scenario, is that the patient actually keeps the appointment and comes in, right, and actually meets the dentist. They have an exam, the treatment plan. They start to get some work done, and the dentist starts to build a return on investment.
Yes.
This is the perfect scenario. Okay. So the next slide is going to show you how every one of these can turn into a dumpster fire. Okay.
I love your little icons there.
Yeah, these are my little dumpster fire icons. If you want to borrow them, let me know. Just send me an email. So how can Google Ads turn into dumpster fires at every possible conceivable touch point? And what if your ad appears in irrelevant dental searches? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. What if your ad shows up for when your competition is being searched? What if your ad shows up when somebody's looking for a Medicaid dentist and you don't take Medicaid? Ooh, dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Greg Google makes some money there.
That's right. Oh no, Greg Google's just like, yeah, man, make it rain. Bring it. Because every time somebody clicks on your ad, Greg goes, thanks for the $8. Thanks for the $23.50. Thanks for the $6.93. Whatever you're bidding, Greg's like, yeah, bring it on. Okay. Remember that this whole webinar, don't forget that mental image of Greg Google. Okay. Because we're still going to pay Greg Google, but you're going to get the value out of paying them. That's the whole reason for this webinar.
Right.
So what happens if the consumer clicks the ad and where they go doesn't answer their question? Like, what if it just goes to your website homepage? That doesn't answer the question. So if they did a search for Invisalign, let's say, and it just brings you to your homepage, and Invisalign isn't even a nav on your homepage, and you have to go to services, Invisalign, and then find your page, I guarantee you that $8 click, $12 click, whatever you paid for that click is a dumpster fire. Okay, they're never going to go through all those navigations to find what they're looking for. Their attention span is this long. So let's say that the consumer can either disengage immediately, or they might still call. Let's say you put them through the gauntlet of pain of 5 clicks to find what they're looking for. And the dental, this is a sidebar, the dental consumers that will do that are emergency patients because they're in pain. Okay. They're the most motivated people on earth when it comes to dental services. Anyway, so then the call comes through and your staff, maybe they're busy, what have you. I'm not blaming staff here. Okay. I'm just, people get busy and they can't answer the phone in 3 rings. Well, a majority of these clicks are coming off of mobile phones. And people are working, eating, they could be picking up their kids at daycare, school. They're doing all kinds of stuff while they're calling you, and they're distracted. And if you don't answer the phone in 3 rings, dumpster fire. Okay. That click still cost you money. Greg's still making it rain, but we dropped the phone call. Or maybe your staff does answer the phone. Maybe they try to engage the patient and the consumer doesn't make an appointment. Dumpster fire, okay?
Yeah,
No
that
appointment,
happens.
no patient, no ROI, and none of these are leads, okay? These are just dropped opportunities. There's a million ways to drop opportunities along these touch points with these Google ad campaign patients, okay? That's what we're trying to show you, that the perfect world takes time to get perfect. And it's not just, and this is true not only with our company, our firm, but honestly, this is true with anybody. Like this, being successful with Google ads is 50-50. 50% marketing firm doing hard work the right way and optimizing your campaign so you're not filling up Greg Google with a bunch of money needlessly. And the client office, right? Having the right people, answering the phone in the right amount of time, having, reasonable conversations with people, converting them into new patients, and having those new patients convert into an ROI revenue. So it's like 50-50. It's not like, you can't blame the marketing firm 90%, and you can't blame the dental practice 90% either. So it's about 50-50. And that's what it takes to make these things actually work. The cool thing about Google ads, this is one of the real cool things about Google ads, is once you get them statistically producing, and let's say the doctor calls and says, I'm getting whatever, 12 new patients a month from my Google advertising, but I just hired an associate and I need another 12 new patients a month. Guess what I'm going to tell them, Howie?
Gee.
All you got to do is turn the volume up, man. It's like a rate. As long as there's enough consumers searching in your market, I'll throw that out there. Okay. As long as your budget is being consumed within that month, there's really good chance that there's more opportunity to get more new patients through Google ads. So all you really have to do is turn the volume knob up and you'll get, there isn't a direct correlation between, once a campaign is optimized, between the money you spend and the return you get, the number of new patients, the ROI, and so on and so forth. So it is, once it's optimized, it is one of the most predictable marketing mediums. So it does have that going for it.
That's the golden point there. The golden benefit is that it can become very predictable.
Right. So we're going to go through some basics here. Again, we told you we're not going to get into the weeds, but we are going to go through and share some of the basics, the intermediate, and the advanced, and then we'll open up for some frequently asked questions and some Q&A. So this is really, the basics is really for the beginners who are trying to set up their own campaign perhaps. And so location settings is what to include and what to exclude within your location settings. It's really geography. So many of you could get away with just a circle around your practice of, let's say, 10 miles. And I want all people in searching for dental services within that 10 miles to see my ad. That's basically what you're bidding on, okay? Well, what if that doesn't apply to you? What if you're right next to a state border or two state borders? Or what if you are, well, actually, one of our clients is in Washington, D.C., Potomac River, Anacostia River, Washington, D.C. proper, and nobody actually lives where she works. And oh, by the way, she's a prosthodontist and she's fee for service. So it's like the ultimate holy cow challenge, right, for a digital ad campaign, right? So location was so incredibly important to her and the way we set up her campaign. So anyway, you can exclude locations as well. So don't forget exclusions when you're setting up your location settings. Call only ads. So call only ads are ads, this is going to sound very basic, but they're the type of ad that the only thing you can do is call. Like, you can't go to a landing page, you can't go to your website, you just only thing you can, that's why they're called call only ads. Okay. All you can do is call. But if you think about it, single men, people in pain, single men in pain, okay, right? You add those, and people on the go, people busy, people like downtown Washington, D.C., where all the lobbyists and the politicians are, right? They're just running around like crazy, answering their phone. Some of them have 2 cell phones, right? They want to get something done and get it done now. Call only ads are a real good option in those environments. And you have to be really careful about when you schedule your ads to appear to make sure, remember, don't let it ring 3 times, because that guy who's in pain, who works as a lobbyist, who makes a cajillion dollars a year, he's not going to wait.
Don't have it ring outside of office hours. We've seen that mistake before.
Yeah. Don't let, set up your off, make sure your ads don't appear outside of your phone coverage, right? It's called don't outkick your coverage, okay? So devices, here's another thing. Like you all should have, I've seen this, we've seen this a million times. Dentists will come to, a lot of dentists come to us after they've managed their own campaigns. And they say, I want you to manage our campaign. Okay, fine. One of the first things we see is they only have one campaign. There isn't multiple campaigns depending on device. You can set up multiple campaigns depending on what device is being used for the search. Okay, so if somebody's using a mobile device, you should have a mobile campaign. And in that mobile campaign, I would strongly recommend you put call only ads. Okay, but when you have desktop user, you can have a different campaign, different landing pages, more information, fits on a larger screen, so on and so forth. And the initial list of search terms you want to bid on. These are the basics. The initial list of search terms you want to bid on. This is one of the warnings we can give you if you're going to manage your own campaigns. If you and 5 other dentists, if I gave you all a beer and said, sit down, don't talk to each other, and create a list of 16 search terms you think local consumers would use to find a dentist near you, all those dentists would write down almost exactly the same 16 search terms. So when you're doing this, you also have to keep in mind that this is a bidding environment. So if I have all these dentists who are all going to come up with the same terms and they're all going to bid, what's going to happen to that bid price?
It's going to go up.
It's going to go up. Remember, Greg, he's just making it rain. Okay. Greg's not doing anything different. He's just loving it that these campaigns aren't really being optimized.
Yeah, Mark, an example of that would be, dentures near me, right? And a way to kind of fiddle with that, 'cause that's a big keyword. It's gonna be costly. How about dog ate my dentures?
Right. You can bet 19 cents for that keyword and you'll get it. Right. Nobody will ever type it in except for the one person who does.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. We have a client in Southern California, 81,000 negative keywords in their account.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah. So this is what it takes to really utilize data science in order to optimize a Google ad campaign. So let's go to intermediate because we have about another 7 or 8 minutes here.
Yeah.
Bid adjustments. So let's go through some common ones that we use for our dental practices. A bid adjustment would, let's say you have your 10-mile radius, but you don't mind spending another 20% on people who are within 5 miles. That's a really good example of a bid adjustment, right?
Yeah.
Negative keywords. If you log on to Dental Town right now and you go into the marketing forum, and you just search for a Google AdWord campaign or something, just do a search in the search bar. And you're going to see conversations between dentists talking to each other, and there's some other marketing people there, but you're going to see conversations about setting up their own Google AdWord campaigns and, hey man, can I use Dentaltown to get some help, right? And you're going to see the doctors going, we're getting all kinds of hangups. I can't believe how many wrong number phone calls we're getting.
Yeah.
And it's because they're not taking advantage of the power of the negative keyword. Okay. Let me give you a couple right off the bat. Your practice name and the dentist name should be a negative keyword in your own Google ad campaign. Because the last thing you want to do is spend $8 every time your patient finds you, clicks the link because they're lazy. They don't care if it costs you $8, and they use that to find the phone number. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another.
To call in and cancel their appointment.
Here's another piece
to make it even worse.
Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah. $8, cancel my appointment. Greg Google's like, yeah, man, make it rain. Okay? He don't care. He does not care. Okay. So here's another piece of really quick advice for the people who are already in Google ad campaigns. When that patient comes in, before they leave, you make them change that phone number that's in their phone to your regular office number. You make them stop at the front desk because, okay, what's going to happen is if they keep the tracking number in their phone, they're going to keep calling it because they've associated your name with that phone number.
Yeah.
They called that phone number from your landing page from your Google ad campaign. Okay. You don't want that to happen. You want to have an accurate picture of exactly what your Google ad campaign is generating for you. You don't want existing patients calling those tracking numbers. So sidebar, quick tip, make sure your patients have your super secret agent existing patient only phone number before they leave your office after their first visit. Okay. So, expand the list of search terms you want to bid on. This is really intermediate. It can get really advanced, but we'll tell you that dentist near me, you're going to get 45 to 60% of all dental traffic in your market is going to be using dentist near me. That's what the consumers, that's what they all type in. But we're also going to tell you that there's places in the country where consumers will type in the zip code, dentist near me, and hardly any other dentist bid on it. That's the key. Every dentist is bidding on dentist near me because 45% of all search traffic uses that term. Actually, Google will tell you, okay? Google will say, what are all the search terms in this geographic range for these services? You get a list. So expand the list of search terms that you want to bid on that are not obvious to other dentists. Because pretty much, I'm going to say 6, 7 out of 10 Google ad campaigns are self-managed by the dentist themselves. You can beat them like easily, okay? If you just think outside the box, use your negative keywords. Here's another negative keyword, Medicaid.
Right.
Okay, do you want your ad to show up when somebody types in Medicaid dentist near me? If you take Medicaid, you do. If you don't take Medicaid, you don't. But you don't want that person seeing and clicking on your ad because that costs you $6 and Greg just sits there making it rain. Okay. Advanced. So this is where it starts to, actually, this is the very beginning of advanced because we could really kind of blow your mind here. But for the purposes of saving time, because we only have a couple minutes left, you never have one ad. You always have a challenger and a champion ad. Your ad, Google will tell you which ad is getting the best click through based on the number of impressions, based on the number of times consumers saw the ad. You're going to have a champion. You always challenge the champion with a challenger, always. It's always a battle. And if you do that time after time after time after time after time after time, you're always going to have the best ad. And if you have the best ad, here's the great thing about Google Ads, you spend less money on your ads than everybody else, all those other dentists who are probably looking at their ad campaign once every 3 months, okay? Yeah. You're going to spend a lot less for your ad. You're going to spend a lot less for the position, 1, 2, or 3 of your ad than those other dentists.
Yeah. Now this is an old direct response uh, tactic. Goes way back. It's called A/B testing. You test
Right.
one versus the other one,
Right.
and you can continue to do this, just as Mark said, and the end result will be a really effective ad.
Yeah, and the next thing we can tell you is that depending on the subjects that you're promoting, dental subjects, general dentistry, emergency, implants, Invisalign, what have you, you should have landing pages by search term. Okay, so don't send a Google ad clicker. Don't send that person to something that is not directly relevant to what they typed in to find. Okay, so you need landing. You don't need one landing page. You need probably 50 landing pages. If you're going to do general dentistry or ortho, implants, or what have you, you need like 40, 50 landing pages. And they all need to be slightly different. And they all need to be associated with the search terms that people are using to find, and the ads and the search terms that people are using to find those pages. Now, the same thing with ad copy. Everybody understands what ads are. Ads are the words that you read right above the map. You're either in position 1, 2, or 3. Those are the words, the headline, and the subhead. That's the ad. The landing page should constantly get A/B tested too. So you have a champion landing page and you have a challenger landing page. Make sense? This is what optimization is. It's a constant drive for higher data points. That's basically what it is. And Google Ad Console is wonderful at allowing you to go, okay, show half the impressions this landing page, show half the impressions this landing page, and at the end of X time, I'm going to figure out who the champion is and who the challenger is. And I'm going to challenge my champion. You know what it's like? It's like the old days in the Coliseum where they'd have, you know, two burly men beating the crap out of each other, and there's a winner and there was a loser, right? Well, the winner never got to relax. There was always some new challenger, right, coming into the Coliseum. So it's basically that's kind of what it's like, only over a period of time, it really improves your results. So preparing your team. So we need to make sure that you're answering your phone, preferably if you can, before the second to third ring, somewhere between 2 and 3 or sooner, okay? Remember at the very beginning, I talked about admin costs. There needs to be a platform where your team can see the call, listen to the call. When we manage campaigns, we actually listen to the call to attribute the call. Attributing the call allows us to connect click to revenues, which allows us to drive all of your budget to the things that only work and get your budget out of things that aren't working. That's how we determine what works and what doesn't work. Your staff is, if you're not going to use us, your staff needs to do that. Your staff needs to go in and listen to the call, attribute it in your practice management software properly, put Google ad campaign or whatever you want to put in the referral field so that the doctor has some idea of an ROI moving forward. Don't rely on your patients, because your patients,
No.
they won't know. They won't tell you that there's nothing in it for them. So they won't really be as accurate as you need to be.
Yeah.
Training the people who are answering your phones isn't really that much about, it is about building value, obviously, but it's more than that. They need to understand that they're going to get probably, 50-60% of these calls are going to be people who just they shouldn't be in your practice. And you're going to have to be okay with that. And they're going to have to be okay with answering the phone and having, those discussions with those people. And what you don't want to do is start a Google ad campaign and not tell them, because then you're basically just setting them and yourself up. And the last part of preparing the team is really, if you're going to do emergencies, we have lots of clients who would say, yeah, I want to do emergencies on Google Ads. And we say, all right, but you have to be flexible. What does that mean? Well, if I call, what is it, noon, 12:49. If I call now a dental office local to me, I want to get in before the end of the day. Don't tell me Thursday
Okay.
or Friday. I don't want to hear Thursday or Friday. I'm in pain. You need to be able to be flexible. Your schedule needs to be flexible. Your team needs to be flexible. They need to be able to stay late, or they need to actually work through lunch. So you have to have all those conversations in order to squeeze the value out of like a Google emergency campaign. So, all right, so here are the takeaways. Google ad campaigns can be one of the two really predictable generators of new patients in dental practices. They really can. They take a while to get there. At the very beginning, like I said, it's 80-20, trying to get it to 50-50. Once you're at 50-50, then it's you turn the volume up or down depending on what kind of capacity you need to fill in your dental practice. Google ad campaigns, one of the downsides is that they are bidding environments, and you will have, like we have, had campaigns where so many dentists came in and did crazy things with their own bidding that we had to pull our own clients out of bidding against those people because they're basically insane. Okay. So, so the bidding environment could make it volatile. In other words, it's much more volatile than other mediums, like, and almost any traditional medium, mail, magazines, whatever. Those aren't volatile at all. Google ad campaigns can be volatile, so you have to keep your eyes peeled on what everybody else is bidding on and how crazy they are. Managing them, in order to do them right, they require consistent work, like multiple ads, challengers, champions, landing pages, champions, challengers. There's just, in order to do them right, in order to not just feed Greg Google oodles of money, they really do. It's like a doctor having a second job if you're trying to do it yourself. If you're a doctor that's in a kind of a rural market where there's only maybe one or two other dentists who are bidding on these things and they're not being professionally run, you're fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. But the closer you get to competition, the more you're going to want it to have it optimized properly. And it's important for one of the takeaways that's important to remember is that a successful Google ad campaign is half marketing company, half team, your team, not our team. Okay. You need to prep your team. They need to answer the phone. They need to be okay being flexible. They need to be okay with some oddball conversations that might be patients that you've never even corresponded with in the past that aren't good matches for your practice, but that's okay. So it really is a teamwork. It's a teamwork between professionals who know how to optimize Google ad campaigns and the dental practice and the dental practices team. It's certainly doable. But you need to be aware of what you need to do. And now you finally have come to the conclusion that cost per click, cost per conversion, leads, number of leads basically are meaningless. They're 100% sales hype. The only thing that matters really is what am I spending for my Google ads? How many new patients did I get? What are they going to bring into my business in the first year? And what is going to end up bringing my business in 3 years? That's really, from a business ownership standpoint. Howie, can you think of anything else that would be more important than those 2 or 3 things, right?
No, that's it.
So let's go through the FAQs. We know we have you about a few minutes late. I'm sorry. This slide is really, this sums it up. This is an auction insight slide that we pulled from one of our clients. See this blue balloon? That's you. That's the client. Okay. See these other colored balloons? That's everyone who's bidding on the same keywords at the same time. Sharing in the impressions, trying to get to the top of the page in position. Look at some of the names. There's Aspen Dental. Okay. Arlington Dental Associates is a big DSO. Aspen is a big DSO. I believe Starbright is kind of a smaller DSO. Anyway, the point is that we get written to, me and Howie and I get written to relatively continually by dentists who are saying, how am I going to compete? How am I going to compete? I'm just one guy. I'm like, how am I going to compete? Here's how you compete. Be the blue balloon. Okay? That's how you compete. This client is spending about 40% less for better position than even Aspen is, with their millions of dollars and their millions of dollars worth of ad campaign, expertise. Okay? That's where you want to end up. You want to be the blue balloon. So let's go through some of the frequently asked questions. How do I know a clicked ad turned into a new patient? Well, the person managing your campaign should be able to tell you, if you're doing this on your own, you need to use call tracking lines on your landing pages, okay? If you use call tracking lines on your landing pages, that call should go somewhere, preferably a report or a dashboard. I'm describing to you how we do it, okay? If you can't do that, or if you can and you're not using us, then what you would do is you would have your team listen to the call, attribute it properly to your practice management software, and in the referral field, you put Google Ad or Google Ad Emergency, Google Ad Sedation, Google Ad Implant, however you want to put that in your practice management software. That's how you know that a clicked ad turned into a new patient, which ultimately turns into revenue, which ultimately calculates into an ROI. So how often should I challenge a champion ad or a landing page ad? The answer is every 30 days. And the only caveat there is, let's assume that your budget didn't change. So in other words, if you have a $2,500 a month budget this month and last month, then it's go look at your champion, go look at your challenger, and then either introduce a new challenger or make the challenger the champion and then introduce a new challenger, okay? About every 30 days, given a consistent budget. Do I have to change my website? No, actually it's really kind of, it's kind of a rookie mistake to send Google ad traffic to your website. Those web pages shouldn't be anywhere near your website, okay? Those webs, remember, eventually you're gonna have 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100 different landing pages for your Google ads if you continue to optimize them. You don't want them anymore. You don't want them visible on your website. So you want all of those, you don't want all of your landing pages from Google Ads to be public facing. You only want them to be facing the actual ad traffic, okay? So I managed my own campaign. It started off great, but now it's not so good. What should I look at? If it's me, I'm gonna look at the number of dentists using Google Ads. So maybe I'll do a clear my cache, or maybe I'll start an incognito search and I'll just do dentist near me, and I'll see how many of my colleagues show up now versus before, when I started before. Those same number of dentists, it could be the same number of dentists, but some of those dentists may be actually spending more money on the keywords that you two are bidding on. Remember, dentist near me, right? Everybody's bidding on those. That happens. That'll make your campaign go down. Number of consumer searches, except for this COVID thing, tend to be relatively consistent month to month, year over year, in the same 10-mile radius, 7-mile radius, what have you. So I don't think you're going to find that there happens to be a lack of consumer searches. If they were searching for those before, there's a really good chance they're still searching. Here's the biggest one. The competition is getting more competitive with their ads. So let's say you started your campaign and none of the other dentists that you were competing with were even mentioning a reduced price in their ad copy, right? And then all of a sudden, Dr. Bob says, implants, $19.99 complete, right in his ad copy, okay? Same number of people doing implant searches in your 10-mile radius. Only now Dr. Bob, because he put the deal on his ad, is getting the vast majority of clicks through to his ad, because we told you before, a lot of people who are using Google Ads, not everybody, but a lot of people who are using Google Ads to find dental services are actually looking for a better price because they've already been diagnosed and they already have the price from the dentist that they already use. So those are some of the common questions. We have Marcy and Crystal are on the line. You guys want to chime in? Are there any questions from the group?
No, we don't have any questions right now, but everything that you guys have said is great, spot on.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no, we'll stay on for another minute or so. Nobody has any questions?
I guess we covered it all, Mark.
Yeah, no way. There's just no way. You can spend another 5 hours on Google Ads and
They're just too thoroughly briefed.
yeah, this is way too brief. And maybe we could do a follow-up at some point. We'll do more of the advanced stuff, like for the, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, we thank everybody for coming.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you very much for spending, giving us 45 to 60 minutes of your time. Howie, we didn't go that far over, so I was kind of happy about that. Not
That's
compared
good.
to our practice session. All right. Well, thank you very much for attending, and tell all your friends and your dental colleagues if you like this webinar, share it with them. And we're going to send out a link to the recording of this webinar in case you have any friends that might need this information. Say goodbye, Howie.
Goodbye, Howie.
Goodbye, Howie. Bye.